It was early morning. I was in bed, scrolling on Twitter and gallery for stuff. And then I saw my Discord notification. It's as if my friend knew I was still in bed because he said, "Wakey, wakey," and linked me on a website. For fuck's sake, why do you have to bother me when I'm close? Oh, fuck, Mormon Sister Lord, let's go! So yes, let's forget everything else. Forget Foresa's controversy, forget the current Outland patch, forget everything else. Let's talk about the lore that Genshin just released to us on the web event. 3 out of the 4 pages are updated, and you guys, we need to discuss and theorize everything that we see. Initially, I wanted to make Skirk's artifact lore, but I'll talk about that in a later video. In fact, I will make that video after this because Skirk's artifact lore is very tightly connected to this event as well. I highly recommend you to read both Long Night's Oath and Finale of the Deep Galleries first before watching, but if you don't want to, that's fine, I'll explain to you all along the way. I'll make other videos about the artifacts eventually, but for now, let's enjoy and discuss this event together. With that out of the way, don't forget to give this video a like and comment so the channel can be noticed by the algorithm. My name is Glitchxcity and I make lore and commentary videos on this channel to keep you company. The first page is interesting because not only do they update the visuals, but we also see the shadowed moon and it seems to be an eclipse in some way. If I were to guess, this likely refers to the first star that we see, where the first moon shattered and calamity struck the land. You can literally see the moon behind turns black, possibly referring to the first part of the CCG finally shattered. If I were to assume, this is likely either the eternal moon or the iridescent moon. I'd say either of the two because they are shown to shatter in their respective stars. Apparently in the Hoya Lab, this event lasted for only around a week, which likely means the event will be updated again on the 8th of April. So folks, get ready because the final image is finally yet to be revealed. I won't explain anything in the first page because I already created a dedicated video for that. I highly recommend you to watch this video after you finish with this one. The second page's description says, "The Wheel of Fate points in 11 directions. All of them are factions that will play a huge role in KRAI, and we know a few of them as well. There is something interesting in this visual. First of all, they look like something that you would see in Mona's Scry Glass. I don't think this is Mona's doing, but it could be someone else that has similar power, which may be someone that is a visionary like Barbeloth and Featherfall. Secondly, 3 of the factions are actually in the center, while the other 8 are the outside of it, meaning these 3 factions could likely play the main role in the upcoming region. So let's dissect them first, then we can move on to the other ones. I won't be explaining a lot because there's just way too many of them and I don't want to make this video an hour long. Don't worry, we'll make theories along the way. The first faction is of course the Fatui, which is not surprising since KRAI is a part of Snezhnaya. According to its description, under the command of Pale Star Edict, all of the Fatui Harbingers are returning to Snezhnaya and dispatched to KRAI. People wonder why do they come to their city, presumably KRAI, bearing the flag of Pale Star. Or perhaps the question is, for who? Now, I have few theories regarding this, but the Pale Star Edict is definitely referring to the Tsaritsa. It's likely because the Fatui finally have all the 7 Gnosis, with Natlan currently to be obtained by a replacement Harbinger soon. As for who that they come to the city, it's definitely not for the Tsaritsa because she made the order for the Harbingers to go back and was dispatched to KRAI. But if I were to guess, it's either finally reviving the 3rd Descender, or it has something to do with the currently still alive Moon Sister. There is however one more theory, and it could likely refer to the Voyager that was mentioned in the finale of the Deep Galleries artifact set. This Voyager is apparently the very first Outlander that visited Teyvat and was the lover of the angel in the records of Jueyun, and that angel is apparently the very first angel of the Silly Race, which honestly is not surprising since the books did say ancestors of Silly Race. The second faction is the Frost Moon Scions, in which the description says they're the descendants of the Golden Realm. After abandoning their ancient civilization, they chose the forests and the mountains to be their new home, but never forsook their moon goddess. However, their peace won't last now that the Fatui has arrived. According to Helka, Frost Moon Scions are a weird bunch and they live in forests and mountains while creating statues all over KRAI. She also said they do some real magic, and this could likely be what Mavrika refers to when she said people of KRAI wield mysterious power that predates the 7 elements. We also learn more about these people from finale of the Deep Galleries that the Golden Realm mentioned in this event is likely the same golden civilization that the finale of the Deep Galleries mentioned. The location is likely Hyperborea, an ancient civilization mentioned in Rene's notes. Hyperborea itself is mentioned in Greek mythology, where the place is in the northern part of the world with mythical creatures and people living in there. The palace was known to have sunny, temperate, and divinely blessed land. Now, I don't want to theorize too much, but according to the artifacts lore, Hyperborea could likely be the lunar palace that the Moonlit Bamboo Forest mentioned because of the striking similarities between the two. The third image of this event also shows Hiisi Island, which is likely the place where most Frost Moon Science people currently live. The third faction is the Lightkeepers, in which the description says they're the ancient organization that long defended Not-Cry from the attacks of the Wild Hunt that were launched by the Abyss. They are now severely weakened by the past battles, and no one can say for sure how the new generations of Ratniki will carry out their lifelong mission. Ratniki is another new term that we never really see in this game, but I believe Ratniki means warriors in Russian. We actually learn about these guys from Long Night's Oath, where they are defended Not-Cry from the Abyss, and were working together with the Frost Moon Scions by acquiring powers from the Star of Valfei, presumably the first KRAI Archon, which we will talk about later. The past battle mentioned here could likely mean their battle against the Wild Hunt and the Cataclysm, and the Wild Hunt is mentioned in this page as well. Now let's move on to the other cycle, which I am super excited because a lot of these factions are returning factions that I did not expect to have a role. Partly Ben did say everyone all across Teyvat are coming to Not-Cry anyway, so I shouldn't be surprised, but here I am. The fourth faction is the one that we know and love, the Hexen Circle. According to its description, Not-Cry is located at the edge of the world where conflict and dramas unfold. How could the Hexen Circle miss out this golden opportunity? So yeah, basically, they're coming only to watch the drama unfold. Can you imagine that we're fighting so hard against both the Vatui and the Abyss only for Alice and her friends just to watch on the sidelines with popcorn and laugh like it's an afternoon tea? Of course, they could have more reason to go to Not-Cry than just that, and I think it has something to do with their organization's goal to begin with, the Irminsul Tree. In the KFC Wing Glider, yes, I am not wrong when I say that, the KFC Wing Glider, Alice said that the fall sky has gone weaker, so she could be coming to Not-Cry for that reason as well. Barbeloth is a visionary, Octavia loves to travel outside of Teyvat, and Nicole is theorized to be an angel that is about to devolve to Seelie. It's interesting how everything is going to unfold with the Hexen Circle coming, since they are definitely one of the most mysterious yet most fun faction that I really love in this game. They could even have something to do with Rhindaughter as well, since she has a huge role in the game and is portrayed to be an antagonist in this game so far. Speaking of Rhindaughter, the fifth faction is the Wild Hunt, which is basically an organization created by the Abyss. Apparently, they're desperately trying to search for something. Considering this organization is created by the Abyss, there's a likely reason that they're not connected with the Abyss Order, since the Abyss Order was created by Kaya's great ancestor, Clothar Alberic, who is a Kynrian. As for searching for something, so far I have no idea since it could be anything. Although I have to say, the logo looks very similar to the shapes of the Abyss Heralds and the Abyss Lectors, don't you think? Their body looks very similar to the logo, mostly their head actually. Remember besties, while these Lectors and Heralds are connected with the Abyss, not all of them are part of the Abyss Order, since we do see a Cryo Abyss Herald before the Abyss Order was created. Since you've made it this far, then I assume you really like this video then, yeah? I want to let you guys know that above 80% of people watching my videos are not subscribed, and it would be great if you hit that subscribe button because I work on everything in this video all by myself, from the script to the final product. If you hit that subscribe button, not only you'll be helping me a lot, but you'll also encourage me to make more videos like this and improve my videos for future content. With that said, let's continue with the video. The sixth faction is the Knights of Avonius. Now I know what you're thinking, but why and how? They're from MONDSTADT. How can these puny knights with no horses despite having a cavalry captain be in Not-Cry? Well, let's read the description together. A small group of elite knights from the MONDSTADT Expeditionary Force has followed their grandmaster across Neshnaya, arriving in Not-Cry. It is said that they have come on a crucial mission. Well, there goes your answer. If you guys remember, long ago from patch 1.0, we are introduced to a character named Farka who prior to the game's release left Mondstadt around a half a year ago and left Jin as the acting Grandmaster. Since it's almost 5 years when this game was released and Not Cry will be released near Genshin Impact's anniversary, that means he left Mondstadt for 5.5 years now, and as far for the crucial mission, this could likely have something to do with Alice, since Alice is also closely tied with the Knights of Favonius. You guys might also remember that MONDSTADT does not only praise the Anima Archon, but they also praise one of the Shining Shades, that being Istaroth, the Shining Shade of Time. In one of MONDSTADT's daily commissions, yes I am not kidding, a daily commission is very low relevant right now, an NPC by the name of Godwin said that Farka took 4 out of 5 knights with him, which means it's 80% of the Knights of Favonius manpower. It's been over 5 years and he is still in the same spot, like bro, where do you sleep? So if you think Knights of Favonius are puny knights, no they're not. In fact, Farka is the strongest man in Mondstadt right now that even Child wants to have a spar with him, calling Farka a titan. You can imagine that these knights are actually one of, if not the most powerful human faction in this game right now, that might even rival Fontaine's guards and Natlan's warriors. But why does he have to take that many people with him? Well, like I said, it likely has something to do with Istaroth and Alice, or it could be related with the heart of Nabirius, an artifact found by Rhindaughter and was given to Albedo in order to find the truth of this world. But that's another rabbit hole that we can talk about in later videos. The 7th faction is the Voynich Guild, which is apparently a commerce guild created by merchants that created Basic Order. However, how can outlaws and bandits be controlled by basic rules? It seems that the honor of striking fear into their hearts must go to the boss lady of the Curatorium of Secrets. Now, I'll be real with you all, I have nothing with me. But I can tell you something that Liben told us. Apparently, Not Cry has no organization that can maintain the order. Something like Mondstadt with the Knights of Favonius, Liyue with Milalith, and Fonte with the Court of Law. Not Cry has none of that. He said that Not Cry has its own rules, and it could be something like the Fortress of Meripede, where the rules of that place are not connected with Fontaine's laws at all despite being in Fontaine. Apparently, they're the stronger forces of Not Cry, and it makes sense since, according to Long Night's Oath, the Fatui doesn't seem to have strong interest in becoming the law of Not Cry anyway, considering of the land's background. However, I do think that the boss lady that the webpage mentioned is going to be a playable character that we can meet later, and I'll give you my 2 cents that this boss lady has strong connection with Dori as a business partners. The 8th faction is the Treasure Hoarders. Yes, those little goofy runs. They spread all across Teyvat, but their origin from Not Cry is little to known fact. The legendary thief, Reed Miller, left a great treasure that is said to be buried somewhere in Not Cry. It's interesting how we see some trash mobs that we always face and just one-shot them whenever we meet them in a place like this, because clearly, these guys definitely have what more than meets the eye. We already knew that the creator of this organization was someone by the name of Reed Miller, and it is mentioned in the Adventurer's Handbook. But we never really get to know more context from that, so having to see them here and have a huge role is really exciting. Judging from what Liben said, it's more than likely that the people who robbed him before and after he met the Voynich Guild was people from the Treasure Hoarders, and if these guys are able to rob Liben that fast, then we might face Treasure Hoarders that we have never seen before and way stronger than the ones we have seen so far. Since Not Cry has some connection with strange power that likely have some connection with the moon, then I won't be surprised if we see some people from the Treasure Hoarder with that kind of power as well. The 9th faction is the Snowland Fae, which, oh damn, this one has some of the most interesting roles so far. Fae is another name for fairies, so I'll be referring to them as fairies to make it easier for myself. Apparently, these fairies once followed, get this, the first Cryo Archon, Peril Sar, ruling the Northlands within their entirety. Even though they lost their former glory, they still influence their nation with their own ways, and we can only guess what path they will take as Calamity draws closer. Now, I know what you're thinking. We finally get to know who is the first Cryo Archon, and this is mentioned in both Finale of the Deep Galleries and Long Night's Oath as well. If I am not wrong, the Fairies and the Frostmoon Scions once lived together, and according to the Finale of the Deep Gallery Sands, these fairies also lived in the Golden City, and they were created created, possibly by the Frost Moon Scions. This is definitely similar to how Jades from Sumeru are created by the goddess of flowers, who happens to be an angel as well. Since it's that way, then we can safely say that the creator of these fairies is also an angel. But you know what's even more interesting? The title is Tsar, which means the first choir archon is a guy. We've been robbed way too many times. But if you don't know the context, Tsar is basically a title given to a supreme ruler in Russia and Slavic monarchies. The female equivalent is the Tsaritsa. With that said, it's likely that the current KRAI Archon's name is not Tsaritsa, but another name with Tsaritsa as a title. The 10th faction is the Adventurer's Guild, which, oh boy, the lore in this one is interesting. Ad Astra Abyssosk. The guild's appearance in Not KRAI is only natural. Of course it is. I mean, how else are we going to get our prime gems from? A certain important figure from the guild's headquarters is preparing to welcome us with the utmost respect. This one is definitely more straightforward, but I have a feeling that this important figure is likely to be none other than, of course, Catherine, and perhaps Sandrone. I think you all should already know the theory behind how Catherine's models look so similar to Sandrone's, and I personally inclined to believe that theory because, come on, the similarity is so uncanny. Finally, the final faction, the Kling Klang Krumkake Craft Shop. Before I start, Krumkake is a Norwegian waffle cookie that is rolled into a cone shape and often served with cream. Speaking of that, it's pretty much how this craft shop began. It all started from making the best Krumkake machine, but ended up becoming a famous machine workshop after creating many intricate inventions. Mind your manners if you want to make a favor from her, or else she'll give you a nasty Krumkake at any time. This could likely be Sandrone's workshop, but I personally don't really see it that way because, judging from what we learned from her, she doesn't seem like someone who is that interested in Krumkake and creating inventions for the sake of making one. She is so engrossed with her research, and apparently according to Tartaglia and Wanderer, she has a nasty personality and cares nothing outside of her research. In fact, if you're being rude and not fulfilling your promise to her, she goes as far as to rip your tongue and make your mind broken. Definitely not something you would expect from the owner who only gives you nasty Krumkake if you're being rude to her. But that said, I am inclined to believe that the owner of the workshop is going to be a playable character. I wouldn't be surprised if Escoffier knew the owner of this particular workshop. Before we end the video, let's talk about the final image, the Hiisi Island. There really isn't much to say and the pages literally say it themselves. This place is the place for the Frost Moon Scions to pray to the moon goddess. But there are some interesting visual designs here that I want to talk about. You see, the pillar here could likely be something similar to the solar chariot that fell from the lunar palace. It might not necessarily be the same thing, but could be something similar where it fell from the sky, or it could be the moon's remains as well. Also, maybe I am crazy, but there is no way that the pillar here looks so similar to Zhongli's pillar as well. Maybe they're connected, maybe they're not. That is something that I cannot really answer for now. Not only that, it seems that the statues that Helga mentioned created by the Frost Moon Scions are the statues that we see in the image. You know what's even more interesting? They look so similar to the shape of the original resins that we used to claim rewards in the mains and leyline blossoms. It is said that the roots of all the immortal trees and blossoms in the world are intertwined at the deepest, most hidden place in the earth, and that the pattern of the root system defines the ley lines of the world. So this means that the Frost Moon Scions and the Irminsul could have very strong connection with each other. After all, it is mentioned in the finale of the Deep Galleries that there is an Irminsul tree in the far north, which is likely to be Hyperborea. It is also the place where the first angel met the Voyager from afar and fell in love. It's unknown whether this Voyager is a descender or not, so I won't answer anything about that yet, since the criteria of becoming a descender is more than just being someone that is not from Teyvat. All in all, this webpage definitely have some pretty interesting lore. What are your thoughts on this event? Let me know in the comments. Jana!